All right, welcome to another episode of Closers or Losers. Jeremy Miner, founder of Seventh Level, here with our CEO, Shake and Bake,
Shake
Mr.
and
Matt
bake, baby.
Ryder, all the way from Sydney, Australia, working from his home on, he's always, I think Wednesdays you work from home or something, right?
I do.
Now?
Thursdays Australia time, Wednesdays US time.
That's
I'm in the
right. All
future.
right.
I'm
So
also good at
today,
objection handling.
today we've got an interesting subject because we always try to take what you guys ask us on YouTube or, especially Instagram. We got a big presence on Instagram and Facebook especially, and, do a little podcast around that. So today, what were we focusing on today? You just mentioned it to me.
We're going to be focusing on the difference between selling on Zoom, selling in person, selling on the phone. So different, I guess, modalities of interaction with clients and some of the adjustments that you make. I was actually going through and shooting some portal content yesterday and explaining some scripts. And in the scripts you had, this is if you do it on Zoom. This is if you do it in person. This is like if you're door knocking. This is if you do it on the phone. So just in your thoughts, some of the intricacies.
Well, there's going to be obviously tweaks, right? Compared if you're doing Zoom, like inbound lead compared to an outbound lead that you're calling on the phone, or even an inbound lead who's booked on your calendar that you're calling on the phone, right? So,
Exactly.
and I'll kind of show you some do's and don'ts. So let's say you're on, you're on Zoom, and let's say and we're just going to make something industry specific. So, what industry you want me to pick? Just pick something for me.
Insurance. That's what I was reading the script for. So
Oh, insurance, like life insurance, mortgage protection or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the difference is like if let's say that you have, because some insurance companies that we train will just only call outbound leads like mailers. Others will have like a triage person, like almost like an SDR, but it's not called an SDR in their industry, but they'll have somebody qualify them and they set up an appointment either on Zoom or on the phone. So if you've got a set appointment on Zoom, it's more like, hey, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. You want to avoid like, how are you doing today? How's your day going? Because it just sounds like every other salesperson, right? It's, just, they know you're not generally interested in how their day is going. So, okay, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Okay. And then you get right into it. Okay. So it looks like you had, and you slow down, like you're thinking, okay, not like you're scripted. Looks like you'd booked on the calendar, about looking at different options as far as like financial protection to, pay off the home when something does happen to you, right? It's like I'm getting them right into results-based thinking. Like if it's mortgage protection insurance, that's what I'm talking about right now. Now that's if it's on Zoom and they're like this, like me and you here, if you're watching. Now, if you're on the phone, it's a little bit different. Okay. Yeah, is this John? Yeah, hey, and it's a booked appointment. Hey, John, it's just Jeremy Miller with XYZ Company. Looks like you'd responded to one of our ads and booked a time in now, and had us call you back about looking at lost my train of thought, about looking at different financial, like different types of coverages to like pay off your property, your home when something does happen to you, right? So it's just a little bit of a tweak on an inbound lead versus a phone or Zoom.
Instead of specifics, like I guess, what do you think are some of the, I guess, do's and don'ts? What are the things that you should do on a more virtual or like non-person? Let's break it down into in-person and not in-person.
Okay.
First of all, so like, what are some of the things that you would emphasize in person, or what are some of the benefits of selling in person that you potentially won't get when you're selling virtually?
I don't think there's much between virtual and person. Like I've never seen that big of a difference because I've obviously done both. I do like virtual or in person over just the phone because obviously I think everybody should know this. If you're just on the phone, they just hear your voice. So all they're picking up is your tone, which is a huge deal, right? They're just picking up your tone, but you're not able to read their body language, right? Let's say if I'm in person and let's say if I'm in some B2B type of sales environment, I'm presenting to a board, well, I can see the body language everybody's setting in there. So if I see Gretchen down at the end of the table and I'm going through a slide and I look over and Gretchen like puts her arms together and she's kind of like thinking like this, or she's kind of like this, I would stop the conversation. I'd be like, hey, Gretchen, when I went over that slide when we talked about XYZ, you seemed a bit unsure about that. Can you tell me what's behind that just so I understand? And I'll just stop and they're like, well, I'm not understanding this. And I can see that body language. If I'm on the phone, I can't see what she's doing. So it gives me a disadvantage. That would be a big difference right there.
Okay. And is there any industries or particular products that you would say lend themselves more to in-person than virtual?
More in person than virtual. Well, I mean, it's hard to say because even with COVID, like I'll give you an example. So we train, like I want to say the biggest used car dealership now in all of Canada, 401 Auto, right? They've been with us for like 3 years, and they literally enrolled in our in our virtual training program and group training like a month before COVID. And in Canada, they got really strict, right? So they had to go virtual. And over the next year and a half, because they were kind of locked down for a long time in Canada compared to the US, their sales went up by over 200%. So, and they were doing it virtual. Now, I would suggest for car, and you're talking about cars, and they freaked out because they're like, we're going to have to close the stores. We're going to file bankruptcy. I'm like, no. We're just going to teach you how to call leads and then, qualify them, get them on Zoom, a second step appointment on Zoom, go through some different vehicles you have on Zoom, and then you're going to close them, and then you're going to meet them outside of your dealership, authorize the paperwork, and give them the keys, and they're going to drive off. And I don't think they believed us originally when we said that, but obviously, worked out extremely well for them.
Yeah.
So I would say, if I'm a car salesperson, I would rather have the option of people being able to walk into the store rather than just calling on the phone. I think that's one industry. Not to say that you can't call on the phone. I think it's a combination. I know 401 does both now, and they're rocking, right? They have people come in, but now they're not just waiting on people coming in, hoping that traffic's really busy that day. They're like actually generating leads, getting them on Zoom and making sales that way and on the phone as well. So it just helped their business. So I would say in my mind, and another industry that was really big in person before COVID was insurance. In insurance, people are like, I can't sell. Like I've got to be in their home with them to sell them. Not going to be further.
Why?
One thing, yeah, exactly, Matt. And I know you when you kind of got in, 3-4 years ago, it was all virtual anyway, so you're just used to it, right? Yeah. But one thing that they didn't account for is that when you're doing that type of sale where you're meeting people at home, you got to drive in between appointments, and that takes a long time. What if you get caught in traffic? You have this one appointment with Cindy at 10 in the morning. That sale goes through and you're 10 minutes behind. Then you have a next appointment 20 miles away. You're in traffic. So now you don't get there till like 11:45, and that one goes south. And then you have to drive, 15 minutes south, and you're hungry. And at the end of the day, you maybe have saw 4 people. Whereas when we were getting them on Zoom, they were seeing 8, 10, 12 people a day. And so
huge difference. Just even if you were less effective. Yeah. On a percentage basis, just the amount of people you can talk to.
Yeah, you're talking to 3 more times. Yeah, exactly.
I've been in sales now for I think it's 13 years.
Oh wow, you were catching up to me. I retired after 17. Well done.
Yeah. So I guess you could probably argue that I'm not in sales anymore, but you can probably argue. But I still do some selling. But I think like I never had a booked appointment, nor did I have anything. To do anything, basically, almost anything face-to-face for basically the entirety of that. The last 2 years over COVID, I definitely did a lot of like Zoom selling because I changed industries. Yeah. But in fitness, all we would do is we would get and this is kind of where I actually sort of changed the way that fitness sales was done, especially like in Australia. Like I sort of started a bit of a sales revolution there because like everyone did outbound call to book consult. Everyone. Yeah. Because like selling them over the phone just seemed too hard. I would do that and I would never get more than a 50% show up rate. Now I'm sure if I did it now, I would have a much higher show up rate.
Sure.
But like, so I would book out an hour for these people in the gym. I could maybe get 3 of them a day.
So half of them did show up.
Yeah. And so it was just a waste of time. So then I just started going, well, screw it. I sell most of the people that come in.
Yeah.
I just don't get an opportunity because from 100 leads, I can only get a hold of 10 to 15 of them just for pick up rate. And then, maybe 20. Then from there, I book in 10 of them and then 5 of them turn up. So from 100 leads, I make 4 sales. Yay. Yeah. So I figured, well, if I pitch all the 20 that pick up, what if I close 10 of them?
Yeah. What do you close 8, 7 or 8? Yeah.
Yeah. Anything's better than if I close 5 of them, it's still better than 4. And then I didn't have to block out that much time in my diary. So for me, I got used to phone selling, and then I just started selling everyone over the phone. Yeah. Everyone. And so that sort of became my thing, was being able to close people often outbound into a fitness product anywhere from $97
and I think one of the
up to
most
about $2,000.
important things that everybody has to understand, and let's talk about tone here, because when people can see you on Zoom or Microsoft Teams, or they can see you in person, I see a lot of people that really concentrate on their tone, but when they're on the phone, it's like they just forget about their tone. And one of the biggest things that affect your tone and how you come across is the way your body's moving when you say certain things.
Absolutely.
So I was in phone sales before, Zoom or anything like that happened, or Skype or anything, or, I had a sales job where I was just calling on the phone every day, and I only talked on the phone. But I realized real quickly, if I just sat there like this, asking questions, it sounded like I was kind of flatlined. Now, that doesn't mean you're jumping up and down and like, really enthusiastic, like really, really excited. But it also doesn't mean you sound boring, right? You're neutral. You're more collective. You're more relaxed. You're more assertive. Now, assertive does not mean you're posturing them. It doesn't mean you're aggressive. It doesn't mean you're overly enthusiastic. I'm assertive right now with the way my voice sounds, because it sounds more matter of fact, more collective, more confident, right? But it doesn't mean you need to be aggressive with it. So when you're on the phone and when you're asking questions, okay, but I'm not, let's say I'm on the phone right now. And okay, but help me understand, like when you said blank, what did you mean by that? Just so I have a better understanding. See how I just moved my hands? That affects how my tone came across.
More natural too.
Yeah, it causes you to it's like you're an actor or actress, right? When they're let's say that they're a voiceover actor for like a cartoon. If you ever watch, those actors or actresses that play the voice of a cartoon, if you see them in studio, they don't just sit there like, and I then went to the market, and
they're like,
what then I went to the market and it was like this, and nobody can see them, but it comes out in their voice.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Exactly. It was actually funny. Someone commented on a reel the other day. I can't remember if it was mine or yours, but I was talking about the importance of scripting. And someone goes, if you knew anything about sales, you'd do that scripts are garbage. And I was like, yeah, man, makes total sense. Like every great movie you've ever seen is totally unscripted, right? I said, maybe you just suck at delivering scripts. You should probably learn the skills. So I think, for me, it's really important to be casual, like casual, confident, but like the more I have sort of a very casual selling style. It's very scripted, but very casual. And so what I used to do, natural. When I used to sell on the phone, a lot of my sales were made chipping golf balls in my backyard.
Yeah.
Because it put me in a very relaxed state. And that's why, like CEOs, you see like the movies where they have the little putting greens. It's not because they don't have anything to do. It's because like sometimes giving your body something to do just allows your mind to sort of really concentrate on the conversation or concentrate on the problem that you're trying to solve. Yeah. That's why you walk around, you use your hands, and it makes everything seem far more natural, because that's how you would be in a genuine conversation.
Yeah. When I was in phone sales, I actually, I had my office and my desk, but I would say probably 70% of the time I was getting up and I was walking around the room with like a headset on, because I could just hone in and focus more. Now, if it was more like a serious conversation, I'd sometimes sit on the desk because I'd like write out little notes, like little shorthand notes and stuff. But I'd always get up, and even if I was sitting down, I would still like, I'd have to move around, because if I ever caught myself not moving around, that deal usually didn't happen. I could take like a direct, cause of like, hey, that deal doesn't happen because you sounded like a robot, compared to when I was like more present in the conversation, with my tone, my listening skills, but especially like how I was moving my hands, how I was moving my head. So if I'm asking a question, I want the tone to come across more curious. Well, I want to have my face look like it's curious, even if I'm on the phone. Okay, but unpack that for me, because I'm not understanding what you said there. Or let's say if I want to ask like a consequence question and I want to start it off in more of a challenging or skeptical tone on the phone, I'm still going to have that facial expression. Okay, but what are the ramifications if your company doesn't do anything about this? Like, what happens then? See, I'm doing that on the phone with that weird face, that consequence type of face. Same thing. I'm going to do that virtually. I'm going to do that in the home. I'm also going to do that on the phone, because it is obviously it affects how my tone comes across. And one thing that people don't understand, most people don't understand, we have to train this to them, is that your tone, when you're asking the question, the way your tone comes across is how the prospect interprets the reason why you're asking that question. Everybody thinks for a second. Your tone is the way your prospect interprets the meaning behind why you asked that question. And so if your tone sounds awkward, if it sounds aggressive, if it sounds scripted, they feel like they're being sold to. And that's why you're triggering sales resistance. But if it sounds natural, okay, you know, and I'm using verbal cues, you know, to bridge from question to question, and it's natural, their guard stays down. And it's because my tone controls that.
Yeah. And where would they go if they want to find out more about these little tips and tricks and tonality and how to sell better?
Oh, you're so golden. I love you, Ryder. Yes. Go to, let's have them just join one of our free Facebook groups. Send them to salesrevolution.pro. Yeah, just go to salesrevolution.pro. Right when you join, we'll message you over. We'll have somebody on our team message you over free training called the NEPQ 101 mini course. It's just a list of different questions you can use for different sales situations.
A little sampler.
Little nibble. We get little hors d'oeuvres, and we go live in the group 2 or 3 times a week, different nibbles, different hors d'oeuvres. And then if you want more advanced training, like our clients are who are in your industry, you're listening to us because we're training people in your industry that make 2, 3, 5 times what you are now. Even if you already make a few $100,000 a year, I can assure you of that because we have thousands of testimonies, almost 13,000 now, Ryder. I just had how you count those up. It's getting close. So go to salesrevolution.pro, and if you want more advanced training for your industry, then just message us in there, reach out to us, and you can book in with the team member to go over the different training options we have for your space. Ryder, get out of here. I got to go celebrate my birthday. Thanks, man.
All right. Enjoy. Bye.
Appreciate it. Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're going to help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.